Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima. Let me recap what this chapter is all about. This chapter describes the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima and the story of Kaundinya Rishi, who, through the grace of Lord Ananta, earned an eternal abode in the realm of the stars in the heavens. Guru Nath asked Sayamdeo that he should also perform Ananta Padmanabha Vrata, especially because he too belonged to the Kaundinyasa Gotra. Very good morning. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Shree Guru Charitra Satsang. Wishing you all a very happy Friday. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Guru Charitra Satsang. I'm not sure if you remember the story, but just a quick recap. I hope you remember how Kaundinya Rishi was married to this beautiful girl, and when they were on their way to when they're leaving from her parents' home after the marriage, and when they were going to the forest, there she saw some ladies performing some puja with devotion. So she goes and finds out what are they doing, and then she also follows the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata, and then she continues to worship Lord Ananta, and she performs this vrata on a continuous basis. And they were bestowed with wealth, prosperity when they come into a village. And then what happens? Kaundinya Rishi asks his wife, what is that she has tied to her hand? The red thread which was knotted. And she says that this is the offering from the ritual that she was performing in the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata. And that thread is very auspicious because Lord Ananta is the one who's blessed them with all the prosperity, well-being, everything. But Kaundinya Rishi gets very angry, and his ego believes that it is because of him that he has earned all the merit and not Lord Ananta. And then what does he do? He removes the sacramental thread from his wife's hand and throws away. And then what happens? Calamities befall. So once he understood, now he's going in search of Lord Ananta. So that's a recap. So let me continue the story. Crying, "O Ananta, O Ananta," he went on roaming from place to place. "I will end my life if you will not give me darshan." He was wailing. As he was wandering thus, he came across a tree richly laden with fruits. But there was not a bird to be seen on the tree, even though the tree was overladen with luscious looking fruits. Please remember, these have a significance. Whatever the tree we are describing here and everything that will get described, there is a spiritual significance, and which will be explained as we go along the chapter. But there was not a bird to be seen on the tree, even though the tree was overladen with luscious looking fruits. Kaundinya plaintively asked the tree whether she had seen Ananta and whether she could tell him where to find him. The tree answered in the negative. After proceeding further in his search, he came across a cow and a calf. The cow was not able to graze due to its blistered tongue. Kaundinya asked the cow whether she had seen Ananta and whether she could tell where he could find him. The cow nodded a negative reply. Kaundinya went searching further, and he came across a bullock. He put to the bullock also the same question which he had asked the tree and the cow earlier. The bullock also nodded a negative reply. Kaundinya then came across two adjoining lakes full of lotus flowers. He put to the lakes his question whether they had seen Lord Ananta, and the reply was again in the negative. Thereafter, he came across an ass and an elephant. There was no affirmative response from them either. Kaundinya was in great desperation. He was terribly exhausted and fell down. His life breath seemed to be ebbing out. He was still frantically crying in a choking voice. his heart bursting out with great anguish for Lord Ananta's darshan. At that critical moment, one old man appeared, Lord Ananta himself in an assumed form. The old man asked him what his anguish was all about. Kaundinya cried out his request to him also whether he could take him and get for him Lord Ananta's darshan. The old man asked Kaundinya to accompany him, giving him a helping hand to walk along. There appeared a gorgeous and splendorous city as they entered it. They saw a golden throne studded with diamonds and Lord Ananta seated on it. Oh, the vision dazzled him. His heart leapt up in joy inexpressibly. He fell prostrate at Lord Ananta's feet. He sang praises in adoration of the Lord. He said, O Ananta, O Lord, resting on the serpent couch, my life has found its fulfillment today. Forgive all my sins and lapses. You have graced me with your glorious vision. Oh, the creator of this Brahmanda, O Ananta, O the infinite ocean of mercy, please never forsake me. How beautiful is it? Please remember, ego and arrogance and pride, name, fame, I am the greatest, I am the mightiest, is not going to take us anywhere in life. And what is this knowledge we talk about? Knowledge is universal. We are only a tool. We are all the tool of the divine Lord Almighty. Knowledge comes to those who seek it. And most important, you have to put effort to get knowledge. And knowledge doesn't mean you have arrogance. Knowledge of arrogance is never going to take you anywhere. On the contrary, it will be the cause of your downfall and misery. So it is very important to understand that you always have to be you have to always be humble and not take credit for anything that's happening in your world, neither good nor bad. This is exactly what Lord Shri Krishna teaches to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday, my Krishna Guruji was teaching a very beautiful lesson from chapter 12, the last verse, in which Lord Shri Krishna is telling, Arjuna, that you have to do the duties, you have to perform all the duties for my sake alone, being detached and most important, devoted to me and depending on me. What does that mean? You're doing the duties for my sake. So whether it is Rishi Muni, whether it is anybody, whatever the things that they are doing, they are born on this planet Earth. They are only serving Lord Shri Krishna alone. They are mere a tool in the hands of the divine Lord. So where is the question of taking the ownership or credit, saying that it is because I am the greatest, so everything is happening good in my life? My Krishna Guruji will always say a very important lesson, and he'll teach in that. He says, when something good happens, it is because of that individual. But when something bad happens, you have to blame it on God and somebody else. Oh my God, what kind of people do we are, and what kind of people exist on this planet Earth? That is nothing but the fallible human nature. So we have to evolve beyond that petty human nature. So here what happens? So what is Lord Shri Krishna also teaching in the verse which my Krishna Guruji taught in yesterday's Bhagavad Gita satsang? You must go listen. And what is he teaching there? You have to depend everything on me. You're doing your duties for my sake alone. For whose sake? For Lord Shri Krishna's sake. So I am not doing this duty because I am somebody great in this world. He's the one who's given birth to me. So why do I think I am some greatest thing on this planet Earth? We all take ownership. We all take credit for our actions, good actions, bad actions. Something good happens. I worked hard. I studied hard. It is because of me who put so much effort that I have achieved this. What we don't seem to understand is that it is only because of the divine grace of the Lord that we are able to achieve that in our life. Please remember, the Lord Shri Krishna is the Karma Phala Data, the dispenser of the fruits of the actions. Whatever the results that is born of your actions, He is the one who bestows upon you. So everything rests with Him. In this also, there's a very beautiful lesson imparted. What is that is imparted is when Kaundinya Rishi understands his mistake, his folly, and he's repenting, he's regretting, and is seeking pardon, forgiveness from Lord Ananta. He has he's absolutely sorry about what he's done. He his mind has come over and he couldn't understand the truth. So everybody has to go through their own lessons to learn and understand the spiritual truth, the real truth that exists on this planet earth and this entire universe. So what happened to Kaundinya Rishi as well? So he repented. He was, he from his heart felt, he was from his innermost being, he felt extremely sorry about his kritya. Kritya means the action that he has performed, the sins that he has committed. I don't know if you remember or not, in one of the chapters it is mentioned, how do you seek forgiveness from the Lord? How can you overcome the sins is being explained by Narasimha Saraswati, Lord Dattatreya himself. How do you repent for your sins? The sins can be forgiven provided you have a serious remorse, a truthful remorse from your innermost being, and you're seeking the divine Lord, his grace to do something about it. You're not just saying sorry for the heck of saying sorry. See, remember, in our world we all say sorry just like, for the heck of it. We are never sorry about it. Sorry has to come from your innermost heart. You truly have to repent for the sins or for whatever the actions that you have committed, knowingly or unknowingly, and then feel sorry and seek forgiveness from the divine Lord, and then make sure that for rest of your life you will never repeat that mistake ever again. And that is the only way to, to overcome the sins that you have committed. And when the divine Lord Almighty forgives and pardons your sins, not otherwise, when you're not feeling that sorry, that great, that heartfelt, regret within yourself, please remember, your sorry is never accepted. My Krishna Guruji has many a time said this, when we say suddenly sometimes sorry, we say that out of ego, just to get out of the situation. At the time, he'll tell me, you're really not sorry about it, are you? I'm like, yes, at this moment in time, I'm not being sorry, but we'll be honest. But the day when I understand my mistake and when I cry out loud and say sorry to him, at that time that sorry gets accepted, not otherwise. The sorry has to come from your innermost heart. You should truly feel sorry for what you have done, not otherwise, and never commit that mistake ever again. That is what it means here. And Kaundinya Rishi, he's being tested by the Lord. Yeah, everybody is going to make those mistakes because we are bound by our human nature. Our mind comes up, then what happens? The ego rises. So when the ego rises, then the downfall is sure. So never let your ego come and destroy you. So always have to surrender at the divine Lord. Believe that it is the Lord who is doing everything for you. Not believe, that is the truth, but we don't realize that truth. That is why in that verse yesterday which I just mentioned, in that Lord Shri Krishna is very clearly saying, you have to perform all your duties for my sake alone. So who are you performing? Are you performing for your husband, wife, children, some boss, somebody else, and for yourself? You're not even performing for yourself. Please remember, the only one who you're performing all the duties is for the Lord Shri Krishna himself, because he has given you that job, he has given you that life, he has given you everything that you have to get in this world. So you have to be extremely sincere and truthful to the job you perform. See, remember, this is a very beautiful lesson which my Krishna Guruji has imparted to everyone. He says sometimes we feel that, oh, I have to take care of my wife, my children, I'm responsible for my parents. And we think we are the one who's responsible and we, do our duties. But my Guruji says, who do you think you are to take care of your wife or children? Please remember, they are the children of Lord Shri Krishna. You're only serving the children of Lord Shri Krishna. So what makes you think you are doing? You are not doing anyone a favor. Lord has put you in that position so that you can serve his universe. You can take care of his universe. You can take care of his creation, who are his children alone. So what makes you think you are doing? So when that attitude goes away, then you know you're serving the divine Lord. You're doing the duties for the sake of fulfilling your role in this world as a father, as a wife, husband, everybody, whoever that is. So you're doing the duty with absolute perfection and in a detached state. Most important word is detachment. Why? Because then you understand that they don't belong to you. Everybody belongs to the divine Lord Almighty, and you are the servant of the divine Lord Almighty, where you are performing a service. That is the attitude you need to have. When you believe this, let me tell you, then no karma accrues There's no karma you're committing. Why? Because any service that you're doing, you're serving Lord Shri Krishna. So where is the question of any karma? Then what are you doing? You're doing nishkama karma. Selfless actions come into existence. Then you're not attached to anybody. Whether some good happens or bad happens, then nothing comes to you. Everything, the divine Lord takes care of you. That is why Lord Shri Krishna says, performing all the duties for my sake alone. Then what does he say? In absolute devotion and detachment and depending on me. What does depending on me means? See, we think, okay, in an example, I want to get a job. So I think the job is dependent upon this being Rajashri Rao. I have to go find a job. I have to get a job. So I have to talk to people. I need to have a great resume. See, all that is just a part of a process. But really, who's the one who's going to give me the job? The divine Lord Almighty. And when he will give, when he thinks it is the right time, at the God's appointed timing. But what am I just supposed to do? I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. I have to apply for a job. I have to, make sure I understand the subject. I have to be prepared with it. I have to just do all that. But when the job comes, how the job comes does is not dependent upon me. It is dependent upon the divine Lord. So I have to depend on him for everything. I cannot say that I have to save some money for my future. Who am I to save anything for my future? Why am I insecure? Why should I bother about my future? My future is determined by my divine Lord Almighty. This is Lord Shri Krishna. So he's the one who's going to take care of me. He'll ensure whatever the basic necessities, food, clothing, shelter, everything will be made available. So why do I think I have to save for a rainy day? Why am I doing all of that? That is not how it means. So what is he saying? Depending on me alone. So you have to depend on the divine Lord for everything. Whether it is to, even if you have a job or you don't have a job, you have something, you don't have something, somebody's got sickness, whatever that might be, you're depending everything on him alone. He knows exactly what you need and he will give you everything that is required for you to live a God-pleasing life. What life? God-pleasing life, not a man-pleasing life. It is God-pleasing life. So there is, Lord Shri Krishna has already said, there is not going to be any, I forgot the right word. Let me explain what I'm trying to say. Lord Shri Krishna says, there is nothing going to be ever in need in my devotees' home. He will fulfill everything that is required for them. He will personally attend to them and take care of whatever is required for them to live a God-pleasing life. There will be no want of anything, whether it is food, clothing, shelter. There will be no want of that. Everything is being taken care by the divine Lord. Such is his grace. So depend on me. So depend on him for everything. Don't think you are the one who is responsible for your life or somebody else's life in this world. That attitude is wrong. So always have the attitude that my God is my father, mother, my husband. He's your everything. And always believe he's there to take care of me. That is what it means to depend on him. Just like an example, a small child is depending on its mother. The mother has to feed the child. He or she, she's expecting her mother to take care of the child. The child doesn't know the child is innocent. The child knows that the mother will always ensure the safety of the child. When the child is hungry, the mother knows, and the mother is going to feed the child. Likewise, similarly, God knows what is required for his children, and he takes care of them in a most beautiful manner, beyond what you can ever imagine as well. What you think, what you want is very petty, but what the divine Lord Mighty will bestow upon you is beyond even what you can ever imagine or ever want in your life. So that is the truth. And the next most important thing, what does he say then? When you do this, you have to see God in everybody, and you cannot have malice towards anyone in this world. It's not just creatures or anything, anybody in this world. A tough lesson to achieve. Why? Because we already have some biases in our world. We either think someone is good or someone is bad, someone I like, someone I dislike. So we have these kind of pairs of opposites. We are never having equanimity of mind. We don't have equanimity of mind at all, because we're always judging a human being by how they behave, what they do, and what happens at a particular point in time, and we carry that with us. The impression, that impression is always carried with us about an individual, about a place, about a situation. And that is why my Krishna Guruji will always teach, live in the moment, don't go by what happens. And that is why that being detached is very important. Detachment to everyone and everything is extremely important. When you are in the detachment state, then you're not going to judge anybody. You don't even bother what somebody does, somebody doesn't do. And my Krishna Guruji gave me a very powerful lesson on this. He says, see, listen, people are going to behave in certain way, but you're not allowed to tell anything wrong to them or anything bad to them. It's not bad, but don't even correct them. It is none of your business to correct anybody. So he says, look, you have to just see God in everyone. Can you be your good self? What does it mean to say being your good self? Being your good self means, look, if somebody is saying something out of their ignorance, you think I should also behave like them or react like them? No, then there is no difference between them and me. But because we are on the path of spiritual, when you're on the path of spiritual, this knowledge is being given by your guru to you. So when your Gurudev is imparting such profound knowledge, it is important for us to live this lesson. And what is Lord Shri Krishna saying? He's saying you cannot have malice towards anybody in this world, which means I have to stand that lesson. It is not for other people. It is for me. The lesson is coming to me, so it begins with me. So I am the one who's responsible to become that being. Why? Because I want to evolve on the path of spirituality. The other people have not asked for it. So I cannot expect perfection from someone. And this is a very powerful lesson, which was again, reiterated last week by Devi Amma, a very divine being. And she was telling to us, what her Gurudev, Agastya Muni, has told her. He said, don't have any expectations from this world. The world will behave the way it has been programmed to behave, because they're all, behaving as per their inherent nature that you cannot change. So he said, why are you expecting anybody to become nice or good? That is your problem. So you cannot expect anybody to be that. On the contrary, you just have to be tolerant. You have to accept the way things are, and you become tolerant. And he said very powerful lesson to her, be that self. And what is the self? And he described the self is goodness, love, it is forgiving. Isn't that so powerful? What it means to become godly, what it means to become a self-realized being is this. What is the self all about? The self is all about love. In self, you can only find goodness, you can find love, you will always forgive. But as a human being, you're only going to see all the negative things, the downside of life. But in the self, you're only lost in that blissful state. And then Devi Amma said, that hit me really hard. She said, I was asked to do meditation. I couldn't do meditation. I was telling my Gurudev, I can't do this meditation. My mind is talking too much. I'm unable to control. And then her Gurudev said, who is asking you to do the meditation? I know who's asking your mind to do the meditation. I'm asking you. When he said you, then he pointed out to the self. But do you even have an understanding who is this self? That is why we say it is self-realization or God realization. But how will you realize if you don't understand how to be good first in the first place? So what is the criteria for this God realization? The criteria is first to be on the path of sattva, goodness alone, full of love, compassion. All this is the qualities of a sattvic being. That is why my Krishna Guruji or any scripture, if you see, the one thing that they teach is first you have to become a good human being. Most important, you have to walk the path of righteousness. He's removing all our tendencies. The Guru's clean. Remove all the negative influence in our life. Remove all the tendencies, the vasanas which has contaminated us so much. It has made us forget ourself, which is the real, the divine self. That is the true nature of us. But because we have donned this human body, we have forgotten our real nature. And now the Guru puts back our real nature within us. He's showing what is our real nature, and he's removing the veils of our contaminated, the human nature. That is what he's removing. He's uncovering through the process of cleansing. Spiritual purification happens, the purification of heart, mind, and then the surrender to the Guru for your self-realization. So coming back to the point is you have to depend on the divine Lord Almighty, like mentioned in the verse in Bhagavad Gita, what Lord Shri Krishna has said, and perform every action in detachment. Then life will be beautiful. So here also, never have believe that you are the greatest, you are the mightiest. Never let your ego rise. When your ego rises, your downfall is sure. Knowledge is not so that you can become haughty and pride. Knowledge is there so that you can overcome your ignorance and you can understand how to live in a righteous manner in this world. That is the reason why you have knowledge. But please remember, the only way to attain Lord Shri Krishna is through bhakti, love and devotion. So when you have to go to Lord Shri Krishna, you have to chuck that knowledge as well and then go to him with absolute love and devotion and with humility and humbleness. That is what will make you achieve that love of God, not anything else. I hope you understand this is a very, very important lesson. Why is this Leela being performed here or narrated here? And why has this anecdote been explained by Narsimha Saraswati? Because these are all a teaching. These are all the stories from which we have to take the profound truth and apply it in our life. We are also like this Kaundinya Rishi, who thinks no end of ourselves the moment we get some name, fame. Somebody can praise you, oh, you get an award, leadership, global women in leadership, something. It lets your ego rise, thinking that you have become somebody great. Please remember that is just nothing. It's somebody giving you some recognition. What does it mean? But the real recognition has to only given by one divine master, who is the Lord Almighty. He needs to be pleased with you. And when he recognizes you, that is the time you have achieved the highest. At that time, there will be no ego, nothing. You'll only feel humble about it. You'll feel blessed for the divine Lord Almighty having chosen you as the instrument to serve his purpose in this world. That is what you'll feel. You'll feel very grateful for that opportunity and not feel arrogant about it. So let us continue. Ananta was very much pleased with Kaundinya's outpouring adulation. Kaundinya asked the Lord that he was intrigued about the tree laden with fruits but without a bird around, about the cow that was unable to graze, and also about the other things he had sighted on the way. The Lord said to Kaundinya thus: the tree laden with fruits but without a single bird around was a very learned Brahmin in his previous life, who always wanted to keep the knowledge to himself and never taught anyone. Oh my God. Okay, see here this is very, very profound. What is he saying here? The tree laden with fruits but without a single bird around was a very learned Brahmin in his previous life, who always wanted to keep the knowledge to himself and never taught anyone. Okay, this is another very very strange problem in our world. How does the human beings think? Let me tell you. When you have got the knowledge and you have become successful in life, you believe you should not share that knowledge with other people. Why? Because they will also then become greater than you. Then how can you then retain that greatness, that position, that you're the powerful one, you're the Nobel laureate, or you're the master of some particular subject, you're the subject matter expert, or you are some PhD, you're a doctorate. All those designations people covet. They want to possess, and they don't want another person to overtake them. They believe somebody else will overtake them and their position will become weak. This is not how it works. My Krishna Guruji, to date, he has not made a difference to who he gives the knowledge or doesn't give the knowledge. It's free flowing. Everybody gets the same lesson. But how many have the ability to understand what he's talking? It is not so easy to understand the spiritual truth. My Krishna Guruji teaches everyone, on any subject, even in the material world. He is the master of all subjects. He can teach you law, he can teach you legal, he can tell you how to be a greatest chartered accountant, what are the nitty-gritties that you need to understand within a subject. He can teach you anything. Technology, oh my God, it's amazing the way he'll explain technology technology to me, to just like a 5-year-old. Any subject, my Guruji will explain, just to a 5-year-old, how a 5-year-old child can understand. In that language, he will explain. I have not seen another greatest master on this planet earth like my Krishna Guruji. There is nobody who can do that except the divine Lord Almighty. Please remember this. And he has never, coveted any knowledge. And on the contrary, he'll say, I know nothing. But he's the one in this entire universe, out of whatever the number of population that is there, he's the only one who's the master of all subjects. But yet he will never demonstrate his superiority over knowledge ever. And he'll never say, I own this or I will not give this. On the contrary, he only wants to see how serious you are to learning. That is the only thing my Guruji will test. He will see whether you are serious about wanting to learn or not, how much effort you put. It's not about spoon feeding. He wants you to go and find. He wants you to go and study. You have to learn. And this knowledge is a very interesting thing. The knowledge is not the bookish knowledge. See, today we have all practiced or rote learning. We have never studied. We have not got educated. Educated doesn't mean that you study a particular syllabus prescribed by your university or your school. Somebody has defined a curriculum and we just mug that. And why? Because we want to get a first rank, second rank, and our end goal is I have to get into the best college, then I have to get a highest paying job. So our goal is very clear. And if you talk in the olden times, women would want to study and get the highest rank so that she can get a best husband. I was like, what? Oh my God. So our way of looking at knowledge is very different. Knowledge means what? You have to become the master of that subject. You need to learn because you want to understand why, what, wherefore, how. If I have to do an accounting, say example, I want to invest, assume. But you need to understand which are the companies where you need to invest, what are the portfolios, what are the kinds of investment are there, which is a good, which has high risk, which has low risk. How do you do this? First, you have to go and study that subject. And only when you study the subject will you understand. If you don't study and then you want to go and invest, you are going to fail. So real knowledge is this. You have to learn about the subject, not because you have an ulterior motive at the end of the day. You're learning because you genuinely want to know. The aspect of knowledge is to know. See, the word knowledge has knowledge. So knowing is very important. You have to first know the subject, any subject. You cannot go and do something without having any knowledge or idea about it. So my Krishna Guruji will say, today there is nobody who knows any, and today nobody has knowledge. Everybody is just talking in the air. They don't even understand the subject. They don't go in the details about it. And then come and think that I know too much. People think because they have worked for so many years, they have been in bank, they have been somewhere, they have served in, army, navy, wherever. And they say, oh, I've worked in IT company for so many years. Doesn't mean you have any knowledge. You have zero knowledge. And today, this is how the world is made of. Nobody's investing their time in studying, educating themselves. This is the real education. It is not about saying, I am from Harvard, I am from Stanford, I am from MIT, or I am from Cambridge or Oxford. That is not the point. Or I am from IIT and IIMs. The point is that, yes, you are going to that institution so that you can learn, you can actually study. But why do you think you're going to that institution? So that you can get a higher degree from foreign universities, and next you can get a good, like I said, high paying job, high profile job. That is why you are going to that institution. You're not going there because you truly want to learn. So the idea about knowledge and knowing is a subject which I can go on and on. My Guruji will say, see, you people have never got educated. It was the same story with me. I studied because I want to get a good rank. I want to go to a good college. And then what? My goal also was the same. I want to get a good high paying job. I want a good job, which in some best company. But is that enough? No. So I am the most uneducated being on this planet Earth. But the real education started when I actually came into my spiritual world. When I met my Guruji, he's the one from day one who's giving this knowledge. And you know what? Poor thing, I sometimes feel extremely sorry for my Gurudev. Why? Because when I met him, my ego was fantastic. And I'd never learned from him initially. I was telling, I know, this attitude that I know. See, what is very important is when you meet your Gurudev, you have to chuck that knowledge that you have learned in the material world. You have to kill all that. You have to come as an open slate where the Guru can write, fresh on you. He can show you the right knowledge. And what does the Guru do? He removes the material worldly imperfections and makes you spiritually perfect, perfects your spiritual knowledge. And he then educates you every small thing. How do you sit? How do you stand? How do you eat? How do you cook? How do you do something? Everything practical training is given. And today it's amazing. Last night I was telling my Krishna Guruji, he put me into certain tasks. I said, I'm so grateful for this, because it feels now like a playground. I am learning. Learning has to be fun. You should never feel, oh God, I have to learn. It should never be painful. Learning has to be enjoyed. You have to love. It's like a game. Imagine you're playing a game and now you're really you want to win in that game. You have to make it very exciting, and that this learning is like that. And what is most beautiful? One is learning theoretically. You're going and finding about a subject. You're going and learning about all that. And the next is practical experience. And how do you get a practical experience? Is when you have to, in your life, you will come across a situation, then where this knowledge is going to be important. Then you have to go and apply that knowledge, and you have to practically learn. It's okay to make mistakes. In the sense, when you're learning, you might make few mistakes, but learning through that mistakes are very important. And I felt yesterday, it was like a eureka moment for me. I told my Krishna Guruji, oh my God, thank you so much. It feels like a playground right now, and it's so exciting, and I want to play this. Why? Because this is just a Maya. It's everything in this universe is Maya. The truth is, the divine Lord Almighty is there with me. I have to depend on him for everything. So why am I thinking that I'm doing something, or I'm responsible for something? He's there. He's put me in that situation, that that environment, so that I can learn. What is important in all of this? Knowledge. To know is important. Knowing is extremely important. And then the most important lesson we are learning here is, I'm coming back to that point, is that my Krishna Guruji doesn't, ever say I know, or he doesn't keep any knowledge with him. On the contrary, he's ever waiting to impart that knowledge to everyone. But there are hardly anybody who can take that from him. Every Guru says this, whether it is Narasimha Saraswati, whether it is Sri Patri Vallabh, Sai Baba to Ramakrishna Paramahamsaji, everybody says this one very important lesson. We are waiting for one seeker who comes with that thirst of wanting to take the spiritual knowledge from us. But there is not a single soul who comes and asks us, because everybody wants it easy. Nobody wants to go through the process of learning. That is the problem in our world today. We don't want to learn. We don't want to put efforts. We just want things happening, in a magical manner. I don't even want to move my butt. Sorry for saying that. I don't even want to get up from my place, but I just want everything at my fingertips. That is how we have become. What have we become? Tamasic in nature. So what is that you should not do? Never, keep that knowledge to yourself. What you have learned, what you have been able to achieve, impart to the world. Why do the gurus teach? Because they want somebody else to also become them, and then carry forward and, carry forward their legacy in this world. So, and which is going to be for everybody's benefit and well-being alone. So the gurus, make sure that their disciples and devotees carry forward their legacy, and they teach and impart that knowledge to the future generations for the well-being of the universe, and to uplift the people in this world who have gone astray. That is the real reason. So never have this ego of knowledge, and you don't own anything. Please remember, my Krishna Guruji will say, I have no knowledge. I know not know. Only Krishna knows. That is the truth. Only Lord Shri Krishna knows. He is Satchidanand. Though my Krishna Guruji is Satchidanand, Sat, which is the truth, bliss and knowledge. He is Satchidanand. Sorry, Sat, truth, knowledge and bliss. And he knowledge incarnate, yet he doesn't take ownership of anything. He says, I don't know. That is called humility. Never show arrogance of your knowledge, and then you cannot go anywhere, and you can become like this tree. You will become a tree with full fruits, but having no birds come and even eat that fruit. This is how we become. This is how we human beings are. Never have this greed, never have this, mm, avarice, jealousy, because somebody has something. You know what? Seek and you will get. Put effort and you will learn. When I told my Krishna Guruji I have not learned, every single time my Guruji will say, "You don't know this? Oh God, what people are this? You have never made an effort to learn." When he says that, you tend to feel small. Oh my God, look, my Guruji is telling me I don't know. But that's okay. What is he telling is that you study now. You see, it's a very unique, rather I not say unique. The method of how they speak is very different. You need to just understand what they're teaching again there. What he's saying is that you have not studied. You need to study now. Don't waste your time. Invest your time to educate yourself in the knowledge. Knowledge is a must. But never have the arrogance of knowledge, and don't think that you own that knowledge. Nobody owns the knowledge. Knowledge is universal. It's like Athanga Sagar, limitless ocean. How much you can absorb from that is the capacity which you have or you don't have. That is left to you alone. Nobody can just put that in you. You have to make an effort to learn and study. So my Krishna Guruji will say, what did you study today? It's important. For him, educating is very important. Not the bookish knowledge, but the real knowledge. I hope you understand this lesson. So never have, never believe that I have to own this. I will not teach somebody. Don't do that. Always be, when teach, if you know something, if someone is asking you, give them that knowledge. Show them the right path. This is exactly what the great masters do. So coming back. The tree laden with fruits but without a single bird around was a very learned Brahmin in his previous life who always wanted to keep the knowledge to himself and never taught anyone. A lamp should light up other lamps. A person of knowledge will have to impart the knowledge to others. Then only the knowledge finds its fulfillment. Otherwise, it will not. And don't think that, oh, because you have this knowledge, you think you're somebody great. Please remember, God has been kind to you to, bestow that knowledge upon you. Don't show that arrogance. I know few people in my world who have said this to me. Oh, I am too good in everything. What can I do about it? Demonstrate that ego and arrogance, and they think that they deserve too much. And there are people who display that, that they know too much in this world, and they have all idea about different subjects. That arrogance is going to destroy them. It goes with anybody. You cannot have this ego of knowledge, and that will be the root cause of anybody's downfall when you have this. And most important, knowledge is to light others. So give that light. Be that lamp who is going to light up this world. Be that shine, the effulgent being, and light up this entire world around you and make this world a beautiful place to live. As this Brahmin was miserly with his knowledge in his former life, he was born in this life as a tree. You see that the tree is burdened with fruits, but not a bird coming near it. As to the cow, in its former life, it was a human being. That man gave a piece of land in gift to a Brahmin, but that piece of land was barren and uncultivable. That was why, in this life, the cow was unable to graze and satiate its hunger, nor that of its calf. What does it mean here? It's about giving. When you give, my Krishna Guruji has taught something very profound. When we give, what? We always want to palm off things that we have, which we don't want to use, or we believe, no, we don't want this, we can just give it off to someone, and that is giving according to us. My Krishna Guruji has always taught something very profound. When you give that which you will want to own for yourself. Don't give something that which you might not want it for yourself. So if you want to buy for yourself, how will you buy? In the same capacity, in the similar manner, please offer it to another person as well. Don't palm off things. This is a very profound lesson my Krishna Guruji has taught on giving. And when you give, it has to have some use to that. If the land, whatever was offered by the Brahmin, was not being able to, you cannot cultivate anything, then what is the point of having that land, right? You just palmed off something which you find no value or usefulness in your world. So likewise, when you offer something to someone, please ensure that you give the best to them as well as you would like to receive. and as you want for yourself alone. This is a very important lesson we don't understand. We are all very greedy. People, I have seen a lot of people in this world who behave in they'll give something which is torn, which is worn out, which is stale. That is how we behave. That is petty human nature. That is tamasic tendencies. Please don't fall for that. Be a sattvic being and always give things which is very good, things that you would want to have for yourself. Give in the same manner. Don't give anything less. So giving is a very profound subject and we can talk endlessly on that. But the truth is, you need to understand, when you give anything, it has to have some value to others. Otherwise, please don't offer. Nobody's asking you to give. And if you don't know how to give charity, then you can't even be in spirituality. Spirituality and charity goes hand in glove. Please remember this. As to the bull, in its previous birth, it was a rich Brahmin. Though rich, he never gave even a pie in charity to the poor and the needy. Okay, this is continuing in giving only. So what is the use of that wealth that you have? What does Baba say? Wealth is to establish dharma. I think we have done this endlessly. But what do we do? Wealth is to, for my own greed, lust and greed, my own desires. I need more, I need more. How much more can you have? Sometimes it's very strange. I wonder, what am I going to do? Who am I going to leave all this wealth for? Wealth in the sense, see, we possess, oh, the spiritual scriptures. It is my Gurudev, my Gurudev, my Gurudev. We all covet so many things. Oh, I need this stanchion painting. I need this sari. I need all of this. But how long am I going to own all of that? Till this body is alive? But what happens after that? Nobody will value as much I revered it. For me, I see my Krishna, Guruji and everything. But do you think it's the same thing for someone else? They might not even care about it. So what is the use of possessing so much wealth or whatever that you have, you think you own? Wealth is only to establish dharma. What does it mean? It is there so that you can give to people. You can, serve this universe. There has to be a purpose of why you have that wealth. Not otherwise. It is not to fulfill your desires. How many saris can you wear? How many dress can you wear? How much good food can you eat? And what more you can do? And you can keep the bank balance. And what use is it if it is not serving a purpose in this world? And then one day you will die. And then if you have a family and children, then they'll take it away. And they don't care about whatever you think was valuable to you. According to them, that is useless stuff. They will chuck it away. So what happens to all that you possessed? And sometimes we even, I know people who say, I have served, I have saved every penny from my bloodshed earning. I'm like, what does that mean? Who told you not to enjoy your life? Who told you to not to fulfill the basic desires of your life? In Uddhav Gita, Lord Shri Krishna has taught, how does this, whatever you earn, the wealth that you think is yours, how do you, split? What is the breakdown of, how do you live your life? Who should you offer to? How much do you keep for yourself? How much you have to give in charity? There's a very nice, interesting breakdown mentioned in Uddhav Gita. Go study about it. Go listen to my Krishna Guruji Satsang. It's very nicely explained. And what do we think? Oh, I have to save every penny. I'm not going to drink a tea. I'm going to save this 1 rupee because I want to make some, I don't know what, some house, or I want to have a bank balance one day, one fine day. I'm going to save for a rainy day. When I get old, I'm going to make sure that I get the pension or I get some interest from the amount that I have saved, and I'm going to live my life. In the last 1.5 years, I'm sure you all know, the interest rates have gone down so low that people never imagined. So what do you do at such time? So even the saving has no value today. Your bank balance it's not yielding you that return on investment. So what are you going to do about it? See, we all think we know our future. We know that we think tomorrow we have to secure. But you don't understand. Tomorrow is not in your hands. Live today. Live this moment. This is what we don't do. We are forgetting this moment is priceless, this moment is precious. See, tomorrow you might not even be there. You might have a desire, I want to eat an ice cream. Oh, I wish I could have eaten. But suddenly you might die. And then what happens? You have to be born again just to fulfill that wish of eating an ice cream. Why do you need that? Live this moment, live beautifully, enjoy that little bit which God has given you, and also share it with others and make your life worth living. There is no point in trying to think of a tomorrow which you don't even have control over. That is why we say man proposes, God disposes. It's a very profound saying. That's a profound truth, but we human beings don't understand the truth behind it. And then what else we do? We think that life is going to be the way we plan or the way we imagine life to be. But that is not how things are going to span out. Why don't you understand? So what is most important? Living in the moment. That is why they say, don't go, past is a history, future is a mystery. This moment is a gift. That is why it is called present. So live in this present. Make this present a beautiful gift for yourself. Every moment, living in the most beautiful manner. Enjoy all the ups and downs. Make the best of it. Take the learning. Go on and be lost in the divine Lord, in bhakti, in love, in devotion. Imagine the life of Lord Shri Krishna. Was he ever, not doing, in Lord Shri Krishna's life is full of adventurous. Imagine, he had to fight demons. He had the most damsels around him. Sorry, I want to say damsels. Gopis running after Lord Shri Krishna. In love, there was Ras Leela happening. On one side, he's fighting Kamsa, his uncle. Then he gets married. He has to leave the gopis and go. Did you ever think that Lord was ever feeling bad about what was happening? No, he was the best at that moment in time. He performed the role to the T. He was the best actor possible. Why? He knows everything is a play. He was just play acting. This whole world is like a movie. So when you enjoy this life, if you take this whole life as a sport, that's why we say the Lord comes and sports in his leelas. That is the truth. So when you take this as a playground and it's a playing field, and you're going through this beautiful journey and being lost in the divine, being detached, imagine how beautiful it is. But the Lord also had to go through his own, that moment, an example. His kith and kin were killed, not killed rather, they killed each other and died. There was a Holocaust happening. Did you think he was ever perturbed? Of course not. He knows that's exactly how things are going to span out. He was perfect in his understanding. You think he could have saved him? Of course, yes. But you think he's going to save him? No. Because that is how it is programmed to be. So you have to just sport in this whole play of the divine Lord. So he's the one who writes it. He's the one who writes the script. He's the director, he's the actor, he comes in sport, he's everything. He's the master, he's the master strategist of this entire creation. And everything happens by his will alone. And imagine, he also is a player, he's an actor in his own movie. In his own story, he defines certain beautiful characters and has a role for himself and comes and takes part in it. That is how you have to see. And you have to do everything in a detached manner, living in that moment, be the best actor possible. Do your duties to the highest of your ability and just surrender and don't think it is happening. Everything that you feel is unreal. What you feel is happening is only to this body. So don't get carried away with that at all. So most important here, the lesson. So coming back, whatever that wealth you have is only to make sure you have to give. Wealth is to establish dharma. We are not saying everything you have to give away. No, it is for you also to live your life in a most beautiful manner. Not live for somebody and then feel miserable about I have saved. Who's asked you to save? That is your way of looking at life. For that, nobody can do anything. So live your life to the fullest. As to the lakes, they were in their previous life sisters. When it came about that, they had to do some dan. Oh my God, we are still stuck in charity. Charity in a religious ceremony, they did it, but each sister gave her charity to the other sister only instead of some other poor and merited person. See here, what are we still stuck upon? Charity. Giving is very important. Without charity, you cannot have spirituality. Spirituality means charity as well. So one of the important criteria for spiritual evolvement. You cannot have spiritual zeal without being charitable in nature, in real time. So charity is a very important aspect. So if you don't know how to give charity, then you fail. You don't qualify to be in spiritual. Forget about spiritual. You can't even be a good human being. As to the ass and the elephant, they were your own anger and your passion. Absolutely. What is as to the ass and elephant? They were your own anger and passion. We are very passionate about things. I love this, I don't love this. We're passionate about everything in our world. So what is that we have to become this passionate? What was just now I explained the life of Lord Sri Krishna. He is dispassionate about everything, yet you will see him being very passionate. That's how he demonstrates, because he is not enjoying it, he's only doing his duty to the highest of his ability. And being, you know, it's like you say, you become mindfulness, you're only serving the divine Lord. What did Lord Shri Krishna say? You are doing the duties for my sake alone. And he comes and sets an example also by showing you how passionately he's doing everything, but is actually absolute dispassionate being. That is the truth, and that is exactly what he's teaching us. Anger, oh my god, one of the Shadripus, doorways to hell, which is, I'm the greatest example. And if you get angry, then you become a tamasik in nature. So you can't even attain Lord Shri Krishna. So where is the sattva in you? Sattva is not there. Forget about rajas, you become a tamasic being. So anger is something you need to control. The old Brahmin who brought you to my presence was none else but I myself. I was moved to pity by your desperation. I bless you. You will have all wealth and prosperity. Your name and fame will forever remain. You should do this vrata for 14 years on every Bhadrapada Shuddha Sudha Chaturdashi day. Bhadrapada Shuddha Chaturdashi day. After this life for you, I will provide an eternal abode in the Nakshatra Mandala, that is in the starry skies. Kaundinya then returned and joined his wife. They enjoyed all prosperity and were forever happy. Lord Krishna further said to Yudhishthira, Agastya Rishi performed this vrata and earned an eternal name and fame. Agastya Rishi also performed. Kings like Sagara, Dilipa, Bharata, Harishchandra, Janaka, etc. all of them used to perform this vrata. Yudhishthira performed this vrata and as a result was able to win victory in the Kurukshetra war and regain his kingdom. You also do this and all your vows will, all your trials and tribulations will end forever. Guru Nath thus explained to Sayamdeo the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima and also about the detailed mode of the vrata, how it is to be performed, etc. He told him that he, being in the lineage of Kaundinya, as he belonged to the Kaundinyasa Gotra, must necessarily perform this vrata. Sayamdeo performed the vrata as instructed by Guru Nath. Sayamdeo thereafter remained with Guru Nath, serving him with his greatest devotion and dedication. Namdarak was thrilled with joy and elation listening to the account given by Siddhamuni regarding his blessed ancestor Sayamdeo and also that he belonged to the lineage of the great Kaundinya Rishi. It's very, very important. If you're worshipping Lord Ananta, who do you think you're worshipping? Lord Shri Krishna himself. And when Lord Shri Krishna narrated this beautiful, story and then explained to Yudhishthira why he has to also perform this vrata. Because see, before you start anything, whether it is war, whether it is any good thing, we all have to take certain blessings of the God Almighty's. Example, when you begin any new thing in your life, our first prayer has to be offered to Lord Ganesha. Why? Because he's the Vignaharta, who removes all the obstacles on the path and will clear everything for us. And we tell them, Vignaharta, please, make sure all the things, all whatever the vignas are there, the evil or something bad or some obstacles that might be there, please remove it and kindly make sure that when we go on that path, there is no obstacle that comes our way in fulfilling that job or any task. So it is important to do that. Like example, my Krishna Guruji said, first you have to get the Ganapati puja done, that is Lord Vigneshwara. You have to get that puja done. It is very important. So when the words come from the Guru's mouth, you can't question, you better get it done. Here also Lord Shri Krishna has instructed to Yudhishthira that you have to do. Similarly, Narasimha Saraswati is telling Sayamdeo that your lineage, is from Kaundinyasa Gotra. And you have to perform this Ananta Padmanabha Vrata. and that puja is very important. And then he prescribes him the method of performing, that is called puja vidhis. The prescribed methods are very important. How do you perform, what kind of, which date has to be, what kind of all the ingredients that's required for offerings, everything will be explained, and you have to perform to the T. You have to follow the instruction to the T and do everything as prescribed by your Gurudev and the divine Lord Almighty, and then only you can evolve on that path for whatever that you're doing. Then that will become successful. So with this, we end this chapter today. I hope you understood some of the most profound truth, and let us, all follow, get knowledge, and have absolute humility and humbleness, and let us give in charity so that we attain our spiritual weal. Thus ends the 43rd chapter of Shree Charitra, describing the Ananta Padmanabha Vrata Mahima. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent, and the ever-responsive Guru Nath. Thank you for joining Shri Guru Charitra Satsang. Wishing you all once again a very happy Friday and a happy weekend ahead. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Satguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Natha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Chapter, that is chapter 44, Tantaku's pilgrimage to Sri Sailam. This chapter describes Sri Narasimha Saraswati taking the weaver Tantuku to Sri Saila Parvata in a trice on the holy Shivratri day by his mystical power, and his narration of Shivratri Mahima and the story of King Vimarsan. Tantaku sees none else but his Guru's form, even in the Shivalinga at the Sri Shailam shrine. A true disciple should visualize his Guru alone in all the gods. For him, all the gods get subsumed in the form of his Guru.